My name is Duddits, I do builds and stuff. Today's video is all about the well bubble. Wells have had a little bit of a nerf, you don't stay alive in them as well as you used to. Introducing the Titan Glaive with a bubble. Add a bubble on top of there for a void overshield. But there's a lot more to it than that, because this edge of action exotic trait actually gives you a damage increase as well. A 5% damage increase, and guess what? It actually stacks inside of a well. So give yourself and your teammates 31% damage increase, not 25. So stay with me, I'll break this video down. So first things first, when Heresy dropped, there was actually a bug in the game, a so-called bug where all the exotic class item glaives, i.e. the Hunter Glaive, Edge of Concurrence, and the Warlock Glaive, Edge of Intent, was all sort of working on other characters. That's not meant to happen. Bungie did say they was going to fix it, however, in Thursday's Twid, they actually confirmed that they're not going to bother to fix it. They want to keep it as a feature and have fun with it, which is such a win move. This opens up loads and loads of build opportunities. So the exotic glaives and the swords, all the class item swords and the exotic glaives are all going to be available for every character, which is sensational. So basically, the Edge of Action was the old Titan exotic glaive, now available on all characters. Obviously, I'm on my Warlock. So basically, what I did with this was to charge the special sort of exotic shot up. The bubble was, they did this on all glaives, all the exotic glaives, sorry. It now requires 6 hits, whether that's from your projectile or your melee. And once you've sort of got that loop going, it is so easy to create them bubbles and special reloads. The special shot, if you want to call it. And all it is a couple of hits, a couple of melees, and you've got it. You can infinitely loop bubbles. You can literally create bubble after bubble after bubble. It is so good. Just 6 hits or 6 projectile shots will charge that, and all you do is hold to reload, and that will deploy a bubble. And like I said, once you get inside of that bubble, it's going to give you a void overshield, and you can just literally just overlap bubble after bubble. It is so nice, and it's such a good change. And what they also did with the exotic glaives on all characters, they added like an extra element to them. So for the Void Titan one, the Edge of Action, they have actually give a volatile detonation and volatile rounds. It's basically destabilizing rounds. On the Warlock one, the Edge of Intent, they give that one Scorch, and then the Hunter one to give it jolting feedback. But just having destabilizing rounds on this glaive and being able to pop infinite bubbles, it just feels really nice. And obviously the volatile stuff this season all fits really nicely into the seasonal artifact perks as well. And it's kind of hard to forget that I'm actually on a Warlock here as well, so we're going to take full advantage of that, including getting an extra damage buff and extra protection inside of your Well of Radiance. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because that Titan bubble from the glaive actually gives you a void overshield, which got buffed as well. I think it's 150 HP overshield, and the very bottom part, it improves weapon damage, reload speed, and handling. Now, the damage increase isn't actually huge, it's only 5%, but bearing in mind you can keep refreshing that and getting a void overshield, and we're going to have a Well of Radiance to stack on top of that as well. So I've just got some numbers to show you now. Just before I start, I've tested this multiple times with multiple different weapons. 1, 5, 8, 9, that is the standard shot from the hand cannon that I'm using. I'm going to put my bubble down, I'm going to pass through it, and it's going to shoot up to 1669. That's a 5% damage increase, again, not massive, but you are getting that void overshield on top of that as well. So a 5% damage increase just from passing through a bubble. Now I want to test it with a Well of Radiance, 1589, and that's going to dash up to 1986, which is a 25% damage increase, which we know. So now I want to see if these stack together, which they do, which is crazy. So 1859, put my well down, it's going to go all the way up to 1986, that's the 25% damage increase. Now I'm going to put my bubble down, pass through that at the same time, and I'm going to get an extra 5% damage increase, and it actually stacks up to 31% damage increase, so 2086, which is a massive 31% damage increase. Well of Radiances no longer do a 25% damage increase, 31% damage increase for you and your teammates as long as you put a bubble either on the edge of that well or right in the center. It's up to you, doesn't matter where you put it. I like to put it just on the edge so you're not blocking people's shots, but a 31% damage increase, how about that? Not only are you going to give them that damage increase, you've actually given them healing from your Well of Radiance as well, and you're giving them 25% damage increase, and with that bubble, you're going to give them a little void overshield, which in turn buffs the sort of well out anyway, which is going to give you even more damage reduction inside of that well. So it really puts wells back to where they used to be. All we have to do is just get 6 hits with that glaive, pop it down just before a damage phase, and you're going to give your teammates that extra damage. Now, the extra 5 or 6% damage, again, it doesn't sound absolutely crazy, but when there's 6 here on a DPS phase, 6% per person is absolutely massive. We can all know how many times we've nearly got a boss dead and then just had a little bit of health left, something like that. And plus, you can actually still die in well quite a lot. That's not going to happen anymore as long as you keep passing through that bubble, getting that nice void overshield. And there's loads and loads of situations you can use this in. We all know, like, the contest mode's just gone. We're going to have master dungeons coming up, master raids, the witness, things like that. Other dungeon encounters, it's going to be extremely, extremely useful. In fact, I'm probably going to go on record and say this will probably change some DPS metas in the game. Having a well anyway, most people run wells, just have that bubble there as well to get that extra 5% damage. The other thing I really like about this specific glaive is the amount of support you can actually just do on the fly. Just like if your teammate needs to dunk or something like that, do a bit of raid mechanics, dungeon mechanics, you can protect them very nicely. If they're in a bit of trouble or maybe just need a bit of a helping hand, you can just stick that bubble over them, give them that void overshield and an extra 5% damage increase, which feels very, very nice. Now for builds, I'm not going to focus on the builds too much because we've probably got loads and loads of well builds going in our inventories anyway, in our loadouts, but the Stag Speaker's Helm is obviously going to be an excellent choice. The Speaker's Sight specifically is really, really good because you can just drop them healing turrets everywhere. Plus you're going to have that Titan exotic glaive to provide bubbles, just for an extra bit of helping hand if you want a bit of extra damage resistance, popping them void overshields and healing on tap. It just feels very, very nice. And if you enjoy playing these support style builds, you're going to love this setup. I'll leave a dim link. Like I said, I'm not going too much into the build, but I will leave a dim link. Purely because we've got loads and loads of sort of well radiance builds that we all like. Now the other thing, little daft thing, I just wanted to test to see if the bubble would go pop in between the doors. Unfortunately it doesn't. I wanted to see what would happen. I just wanted to make it go pop, see if it actually squeezed, but it doesn't. Little daft thing, but I just wanted to test it out. But that wraps up the video. Let me know what you think. These exotic glaives available on all characters now is just opened up build crafting even more, which is excellent from Bungie. So GG for that. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.